Now, tragically, even though the Reformation was birthed out of the university and out of education, the Catholics then used the Counter-Reformation. They used universities to oppose the Reformation, this move of God. It's very interesting that in the 1300s, the Catholics were really the only game in town, and in all the 1300s, they only established 5 universities in all of Europe. Some very important ones, like Charles University in Prague and others, but only 5 in 100 years. Now, in the 1400s, they sped up and they established 8 universities in 100 years. So they were moving up the scale. But when Protestants came along and immediately began establishing universities and converting existing universities to become Reformed institutions, the Catholics really became serious about education, not just for priests, not just for church officials, but for a lot of other people as well. So, in the 1500s, when you put the Protestants and Catholics together in the terms of the number of universities they founded, 73. So we go from 8 in 100 years to 73 in the next 100 years. Now, their strategy was well developed. It was primarily the Jesuits, that arm of the Catholic Church, that worked in establishing these universities as a direct response. You can look at Catholic websites today, and they will say, we established this university to combat the Protestant Reformation. For instance, my wife and I lived in Lithuania for 5 years. And in Vilnius, the capital city, just a few blocks from our apartment, there was this prestigious and really beautiful classic old university, Vilnius University. Established in the late 1500s, got really going in the early 1600s, established by the Jesuits as a response to the Reformation, because the Reformation was spreading like a wildfire over what was called the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. In those days, Lithuania stretched from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. It took in Lithuania, Belarus, Kaliningrad region, much of Ukraine, much of Poland, up to nearly 70 miles within Moscow. This huge area. And the Reformation was taking over. So they established a university. And it worked. Today, Lithuania is nearly 80% Catholic. I was in Lviv, Ukraine a few days ago. And they said, we need to show you the university here. They showed me the leading university in Lviv. And I said, what's the story here? They said, the Jesuits came in response to the Reformation. And they established this university. And good Protestant parents wanted their children to have a good European education. So they said, well, we'll send our kids to this nice university. Now, 4 years later, the children emerged from the university not as Protestants, but as Catholics. So the Catholic strategy worked. Education makes a difference. It actually changes your worldview. When you're taught day after day one point of view, you're going to be changed. And so the Catholics really used education to oppose the university, and tragically, the Protestants never quite got up to speed in the same degree of excellence in their level of education. And we see the results even today, sadly.